Hey. Hey. Talk your shit, K. My theme music. Y'all ready? It's another episode of Sayith Loud, y'all. You know what to do. Get your wine in your wine glasses. Get your Henny in your shot glasses. For those of y'all mixing up those mixed drinks, don't water that motherfucker down. And for those of y'all not fucking with me right now, I get it. I'm a multifaceted woman. Go ahead and brew your lavender or your chamomile. Sit back, relax, and get ready for another episode of Sayith Loud. We're bringing the fuckery, y'all. Let's go. It's another episode of Sayith Loud. So for this particular week, I actually had an episode that I recorded, an interview that I recorded with the Soul Boxin podcast. And it was such a moving interview, and the feedback that I got on the interview was so wonderful that I felt that I wanted to share it all with you on my platform. It was just nice to for my listeners to get to know who I am and what the vision of Sayith Loud is and what our ideas are as far as like being a media platform, and that we're not just a podcast, we're so much more than that, and the goal is so much bigger than that, and the vision is so much bigger. And so for this week's episode, y'all gonna get to see me in the hot seat and have a conversation with this lovely podcast and lovely producer and lovely host who actually gave me a platform to tell the world about what I'm doing and what my vision is and what my brand is. And so for those of you that listen and know me, it's not me with the fuckery, it's me like creating that platform for you, but I wanted you to get to know me on that side of who I am as a person and what we're doing. So for this week, that's what we're gonna do. I would love to hear from all of you as far as like what you thought of the interview, what you think about Sayith Loud, how you can get down with the movement, how you can support the brand, and what it means to you, because that's the most important thing to me. So that's what we got for you this week. Listen, love, like, subscribe. Let's go.
So, what's up? What's happening? What it do? Fight team. This is George, and this is Soul Stories. As we talked about, from inspiration to manifestation. And today, got a special treat. I'm joined by the amazing host of the Sayith Loud podcast, Miss Karyn Elle.
Hey,
Karyn, how you?
I'm well. I'm hanging in there.
That's what's up. So, I'm very impressed by your content. And so, when I started this, I wanted to let people tell the stories of their content, how they got from where they were to where they are now. So as a fan of your podcast, I've listened to a few episodes. You're like amazing as a host. And of course, like your brand is just like out there, from your logo to every dynamic. So how did you go from that idea to where you're at?
Oh man, I feel like it was all right, so it's a long story, but I'm gonna try to keep it short for you. I've always wanted to be my own person, and I've always been a little weird and a little quirky and a little, I am who I am type of thing. So my personality was always there. And then I have a background in media. I have a BA in media communication, so I always love audio, photography, media, film, all that kind of stuff, and that's where my passion was. And I always knew I wanted to do something with it. But, life doesn't always let us do what we want to do. Sometimes we do what we have to do. And so maybe about 8 years ago, I got divorced and I went back to school and I became an educator, which I enjoy. But one morning on my way to work about a year or so, maybe a year and a half ago, I just was sitting on the bridge driving, on my way to work. And there's traffic and I was just like, this can't be it. This can't be it for me. Like this just can't be it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 8:00 in the morning. And that's what I was saying to myself. This can't be it. And, I started like building the website and having these ideas, but I was afraid to do it. And I called my daughter and my daughter was like, so Mom, what are you going to do? And I was like, I don't know. And then I had another friend that was like, Karyn, I keep hearing that you're going to do something. Just do it. And I was like, you know what? You're right. And so that was it. And that was it. I was like, all right, we're going to do the podcast. And I looked up the podcast and how to start a podcast. So everything you see on my podcast, believe it or not, like I didn't pay one of those companies to do it for me or anyone to teach me. I legit came home every day from work. I made it my job. Like when I got out of work, that this was my job. And I came home every day and I looked up like how to get your podcast on Google, how to get your podcast on iTunes, how to get your how to upload, what's CM, what's CPM. Like I taught myself every single thing that I needed to know. And then I was like, I'm just going to take every dollar that I would normally invest in foolishness and buying things on Amazon or getting my hair done, and I'm going to invest it in myself. And that's what I did. And that was the birth of Sayith Loud.
Wow. So that in itself is just inspiring, because I think so many of us, we have good ideas, but we just have like poor execution behind it. It just floats as an idea. So for you to take that idea and put it into what you have is amazing.
It really was a lot of like, you doubt yourself at first, and there's you have to be like emotionally in a place where you're like, I'm going to be transparent because I know people are going to come at me and there's going to be difficulties and who am I going to be in the midst of this? But for me, it was just like, I'm just going to be myself, and whoever loves it, loves it. And whoever don't like it, I respect that they don't like it, but I'm just going to keep doing it. And I used to go to work and like, I would sit at my desk, and every time I had a break, I was doing something for Sayith Loud. You know what I mean? I was looking up this and researching that. Like I have made this so ingrained in a part of who I am. Like this my baby. And so that's what I treat it like. The same way you nurture a baby and grow a baby and want the best for it is the same thing I do with my brand and my business and my podcast.
And that's what I noticed. So when I followed you, when I first contacted you, I was like, one of the things that I'm always impressed by is your like genuineness. You come off as like such a genuine person, from your posts that are humorous to like just when you advertise for your brand, for when you show the successes of your brand. And like, is that difficult sometimes to be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be this transparent, or maybe I shouldn't be this genuine? Or is it just such an ingrained part of you that it just comes naturally to just open up that level of exposure to
for
the
me
public?
It's really real. Like this is not put on. It's not what do my viewers want to see, let me give them that. It really is like, this is just me, day-to-day life. Every Friday I do the fuckery. I post things, everything from what's happening in the media and I'm and black people dying to the president, to whatever. But this is really me. These are really my thoughts. These are really my things. I think that, so when I started looking at podcasts and building a brand, I really felt like there wasn't a place for me. And so I created a space, because everybody said to me, well, Karyn, what's going to make you different? I was like, the difference is just me. And they were like, that's not enough. And I was like, well, that's what I got. You know what I mean? and then I started looking at it and started thinking about, like, I see these women that are like the Cardi B's, and I say this all the time. I like Cardi. I respect what she's done with her platform, but I'm a little older than that. We're not bashing bottles and screaming at nobody. I got a whole job to go to and some grandkids. Like, I can't be out here acting a fool. I know how to act a fool. I know exactly where I come from, but we're not out here doing that, right? And so there was those women, right? And then there was the other flip side of it. There was those women that are ratchet and raunchy, and I got a little sprinkle of that shit, but not enough where I want to live that every day, right? That we're supposed to get better and better. And then there was the flip side of it, and there was like the Oprah and the Gales that act like they never ate fried chicken from the chicken spot, and I was like, but that's not me either. You understand what I'm saying? There has to be some median. And so when I think about my brand and I think about the people that I market to, I was thinking about, in a selfish way, the people that are most like me, just the people that are between the ages of like maybe like 30 to 44. And we like figuring our way through life. You know what I mean? We know how to get down when we need to get down and bash a bottle if that need be, but we don't want to have to be in that space, right? We still listen to our hip hop music and our Mary J, but we not out here doing the Tekashi thing, because like that's for you youngins. And so just really having that space in between where we're somewhere in between there, and then just being real about it, right? Because some of us are on our second relationship. We've been married, we divorced, we got older kids. Things is just we're going through life in a different way, not like our parents. and not like these young kids that are coming up now, this younger generation that's coming up now. So I really wanted to just create a platform and a space for people like that, because there wasn't one.
So your space that you created is like, it's like a living room to the world, you know, because when I look at your posts and when I listen to your podcast, you're not what you typically see. You know, a lot of people are like, okay, I'm just going to be about this, which is what's trendy, or I'm going to just be about sex, or I'm going to just be about consciousness. You're like bouncing around to a lot of different stuff, which shows various sides of you. And I think those various sides make your brand so unique in that it appeals to all levels, if not complete.
So thank you. I appreciate that. I don't think that we are just one thing. We're not just, none of us are just one thing. And so it's all a little bit of all of those things that encompass who we are as people, where we are in generation, what our perspectives are, how we're going to do things different, areas where we might have fucked up at, where we look back now and say, okay, I shouldn't have done that. And so I think we have to be multifaceted, you know what I mean, to be able to survive and to be able to appreciate. And so I don't want someone to just be like, well, she only talks about this and she doesn't have views on politics and she doesn't have views on raising children and she doesn't have views on relationships. Like, no, we encompass a whole bunch of different things. And so those are the things that we celebrate, or those are the things that we look at, because, you know, I don't like when people put anyone in a box. So I don't want to be put in a box.
So let me ask you this, because like your logo is unique, your style is unique. When you started branching out into like merchandising, because you know everybody wants to be into merchandising, they want that residual revenue. You know, they want that continuous stream of revenue, but you do it differently. Like you do it so differently. Like you advertise your brand, but you advertise your story more. Was that intentional? Was that just like, okay, I'm not gonna just tell people buy my t-shirt, you know, or am I gonna be like, hey, this is who I am, and because you love who I am, guess what? I have a hat.
I just think of people, when I think about selling merchandise, I don't think about me. That's why the logo doesn't have my face on it. I didn't want that. I didn't want to be a brand where people look at it and they be like, that's just Karyn. I wanted a brand that was a brand that could stand by itself. And I think that's the difference for me and other people, especially podcasts. Like most people, they have their face in it, right? They want everybody to know who they are. I don't mind if everybody know who I am, but I wanted this to just be a brand that can stand alone and rep itself as a brand without anybody's face on it. And so when I thought about a logo, I was like, that's what I want. I want people to not know who it is and just love it just because they love it. And so that's what we came up with. And a funny story about my logo. So I had a logo before I had this new logo that I had now. And a couple months into the podcasting, I was like, this logo not gonna look good on a t-shirt. Let's make another one. And I was home. I spent the whole day at home that day, and I was gonna pay someone to make me a logo. And I said something to my son, and I was like, I need a new logo because, like, we want to do these t-shirts. This logo not going to look good on t-shirts. It's not going to look good. And if anybody knows me, I like frou-frou, frilly, fluffy, nice. Like, I'm a b-boy with my Timbs and my fitted, but I like nice things. You know what I mean? I like it done right. And my son was like, here, Mom. And he took the laptop and he took the phone and he took the iPad and he left for a few hours. And I was like, all right, maybe he's just playing PlayStation. He came back. And he was like, this is what I did. And he did like a number of mock-ups of that logo. And I was like, oh my God, you hit the nail on the head. And then, so the actual logo that you see now, my 11-year-old son made that. And I'm so proud of him. Yeah, I'm so proud of him. I was finna pay, I don't know how much money for someone to do it. And he nailed it. Like he came back and I was just like, move this, do that. Like I told him a little bit though. And I sprinkle my sauce on it, but for the most part, he did it on his own. And so that's the logo the brand that you see. My son actually designed that.
What do you think is well, you're very committed from what you're telling me. You're very committed to your brand. What do you think is the hardest part though about being in the podcasting platform? There are millions of podcasts out here. It seems like. What do you think is the most difficult part? On a week-to-week basis.
So far it's only been difficult for me when I'm not in the mood to record. Like when something happens in my life where my spirit is just uneasy for whatever reason, and I just can't concentrate to sit down and record, because I didn't think that would happen when I started. I just was like, nah, I got content. Like, I always got content. I could sit and talk shit about anything you tell me. But there has been some days that I was just like, I can't do it today. Like, I don't feel it in my heart. I don't feel it in my spirit. And if you listen to my show, you're going to notice, like, if I don't come with 110%, I'm not putting it out. Like, if I record my show and it's ready and I edit it and I'm like, this is not what I want to put out, this is not how I do my work, then I won't put it out. Like, I give 110% every single time. So if I'm not getting that and I don't feel that, then I don't do it. And so there's been a couple times where that happened. Like when during the Black Lives Matter movement, I was just like, yo, nothing's funny. I can't do my Friday fuckery. Like, this is not funny. I don't want to be funny today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to tell jokes today because this is not funny. And so there's been times where I have to battle with myself, you know, and say, well, Karyn, you got to stay committed. You got to do it. And it's not that I'm not committed. I just don't think that, you know, every time, there's not always a time and a place to be funny. And there's not always a time and a place where I feel like I'm doing 110%, you know? And so that's been difficult for me to grapple with, because I'm one of those, I'm a perfectionist. So,
okay.
So that's been hard.
So, yeah, I know, like, so for me, I'm just kind of like a go with the flow person, which is different than everything else I do. I go with the flows in terms of the podcast. I'm like, I like the rawness of it. You know, I like people that just they're rawest. You know, I'm like, I don't want the press conference answers. You know, like, why do you do this? Well, I do this because the amount of content, time for it. Because I mean, like, when I look at my feed, you're putting out content.
It's so funny though, because
like, she's committed, you know, like, I'm impressed. Here, and here.
Yeah. I don't really schedule content. I really do what I'm feeling. So if something pops up and I'm like, oh, that's funny, then I'll just post it, you know. Or if like, oh, this reminded me, like, somebody buy a t-shirt, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I had that, let me post that merchandise. Or you know what I mean? So I'm constantly like, whatever my spirit feels for that day, or whatever I feel like I want to share that day, I'll just share it. Like, I don't really I know some people, like, they schedule it out. They got certain things on certain days. Like, everybody know Friday, all day Friday, I just do fuckery all day Friday, right? It's a feel good day. The show drops on Friday. I've been doing Friday fuckery for 5-6 years now. So that's just a given. Like, every Friday I'm on there, unless some major catastrophe happens, I'm on there every Friday. But everything else, as far as like marketing my business, I actually, as a podcaster, to be totally honest with you, I'm into meditation and spirituality. And if you listen to my show, you would know that. So I actually set my alarm clock an hour early from when I actually need to get up. And when we were going to work before COVID, I would actually do my marketing in the morning before I left the house at like 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. And that would be my time to do that. So that during the day I could do whatever else I needed to do and really not be in that space. And then later on in the evening. But now that I'm working from home and stuff like that, that's changed a little bit. But I really feel like it boils down to like how committed you are to what you want to do and what message you want to give and what story you want to tell. And then finding the time to do that. Like, people could do whatever they want to do if they put their mind to it. And it sounds so cliche, but it's just like, go to the toilet. Why are you sitting on the toilet? You're on the phone anyway. Go ahead, make your, you know what I mean? Go ahead, make your whatever, and go ahead and post it because you're sitting there anyway. So it's really just about managing your time and making it a priority in your life to do it. And so that's what I do.
All right, so you mentioned meditation.
Sweet Vibrations is the official sponsor of the Sayith Loud Hoe Bag. Yes, they are. If you didn't know, Sweet Vibrations is an adult boutique that delivers innovative lifestyle products and embraces the taboo of sexual wellness instead of hiding it. Simply put, they inspire each and every one of us to embark on our own sexual wellness journey. Whether it's the girl's best friend, a little pixie, the perfect match, or tulips, there's something for everyone. And you deserve something sweet. So visit their website at www.sweetvibe.toys. Use our Sayith Loud discount code, LOUD, loud, for discounts. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Sweet Vibrations. I mean, ladies, we all deserve a good vibe. And, you know, no one teaches us to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's really important to just take that time, especially when people feel overwhelmed or need to take a minute for themselves. We're taught to kind of like keep pushing. We're never taught to say, okay, I'm tired. And so it's okay to meditate. It's okay to stop. It's okay to, you know, just push everything out, refocus, and take time for yourself. So I think that's a really important part of my brand and who I am.
So what's next for your brand? Like, what do you have in mind to do
Right.
from here? Because I see, like, it seems like you're growing exponentially. You're doing so many great things. What is your vision? What is your grander vision other than the moment we're in?
That Sayith Loud is just a podcast. And like, that's just the name of the podcast. But Sayith Loud is actually a whole company where we specialize in media.
Mm-hmm.
And there's photography, there is script writing and film writing, there's making films. There's actually a short film, a trailer that I shot on my website. There's writing services. So I write for people, their press kits or their, manage public relations and things of that nature, planning events. And then I do panel discussions and hostings and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people see it and they're like, oh yeah, the podcast, but it's actually bigger than that. And the idea was never just to be one thing. The idea for Sayith Loud always was, and I know this is a lot, but some of your listeners might not know. So Sayith, a lot of people say, well, what's Sayith? What does that mean? Sayith means to say something in the third person. Like, I thought very strategically about the name of my company and what I wanted it to represent and how I wanted to be seen. So Sayith means to say in the third person, right? We don't speak like that anymore. I was in London a couple years ago and I saw it like tagged up somewhere and I was like, I love that word. I love words. And I love that word. Let me go look it up. And I looked it up and what it meant. And it means to say something in the third person. And then I said, okay, well, what goes with that? Loud, right? Because whatever you want to say, you should say it loud enough that somebody could hear you. And so when I think about Sayith Loud and the brand and the company, ideally what I want to do is give people a platform to share their art so that they can say something and say it loud. And so when you think about media and you think about photography and you think about movies and you think about music and you think about poetry and you think about writing, it's all somebody saying something. They just use different mediums to say it, but they're saying something, right? That you walk into an art gallery and you look at a painting, they're saying something. You know, there's an instrumentalist playing jazz and there's no words, but they're saying something. And so that's what I want to do. I want to create a company that gives people a platform where they can say something, where they can be heard, and then be a voice for the people who may be afraid to say it or don't have a place to say it. Right. So me and my big mouth want to be the person that says, well, you know what? This is how people feel. This is what we're thinking. And maybe they don't want to say it because of the repercussions or the backlash, or they're scared or whatever. They don't want to be as transparent, but really being that voice for those people to say whatever it is that they need to say and say it loud. And so that's my plan.
That's amazing though, because with everything that you're touching all aspects of media, but people need that though. They need that space to be able to use their voice. I think so many people feel voiceless, right now in society for one reason or another. They feel like they don't have a voice, and it takes a platform like yours,
right,
to offer them the opportunity to speak. And that's beautiful though, because it's not a lot of that out there. So many people speak for themselves, but they don't have a stage.
And for me, there's also
a
lot of people that I've seen and I've met with so much talent and they just don't have a place for it. I've met so many people, like I've walked on the street and the guys like banging on the buckets, and
Okay.
I'm like, wow, they're so talented. How could I incorporate this into what I'm doing? How can I incorporate this into a film? How can I incorporate this into a series? How can I give these people a platform so they don't have to stay with me forever, just long enough so that they get their shine? Because I feel like there's so many talented people, artists, fashion designers, writers, musicians, that just don't have a platform. They don't have a diving board to jump off. And so what I want to do is create that space and say,
Okay.
okay, this is your space. I need this. You have this talent. Let's work together. And once you're ready to jump off the diving board, go ahead and go. But let me give you that. Let me create that diving board for you.
And that is amazing. That's amazing. In my experience, I just started podcasting like a year ago. So my experience, it was a learning process. Like you, I had to jump into this thing and learn everything on my own. And luckily, I was able to acquire a great team around me. A great team of minds and fellow creatives that I'm able to bounce things off of and come back and refine and revisit some things. So how important is your team to you? Does your team like play a vital role in your success right now? How does that feel to have those people around you?
I only keep the honesty and the integrity around me. So it's not a big team as people think, because that's hard to come by. It is really important to have a strong team and strong support system. But I tread lightly, because there's also days that I'm like, I'm not listening to you. I'm just going to do what I want. I'm just going to do what I want to do, because I know what I'm talking about, or I don't know what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
Because there's the people that are very conservative and they're like, Karyn, chill, you don't need to do more. And then there's other people that are like, go ahead and go. So just really finding your place in that median. But I love having my team and being able to bounce off people. And since I've started this, the amount of people that have shown me love and come to me and ask me questions, or I've been able to learn from and be like, I wasn't doing that. Now I'm going to do that. Or I'm going to take that and I'm going to grow it. You know what I mean? Has been absolutely amazing. So I feel like every person I come in contact with is an opportunity for me to learn something. I feel like that in my life regardless, but definitely as it comes to growing a business and working with other podcasters, I feel like every time you work with someone or you meet someone, it's an opportunity for you to learn something, as small as it may be. And then you take that and you run with it, and you take that and you magnify it, and you take it and you use it and incorporate it how you can to work for you. Or you could say, no, that doesn't work for me, but I like it. And really kind of looking at it as a way to learn from each other.
So let me ask you this question. Like, as people getting started, so we can just take just the podcast field by itself, because you do so much. What is the advice you would give to people that's jumping off that diving board? That's, standing right there at the edge of a pool, like, I don't even have a diving board yet, but I want to jump in. What be your advice to them?
I would say you got to have an open mind and an open heart. I would say don't overthink it. Don't overthink it, because you'll think yourself out of it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. And every day that you do it, every time that you do it, get better. And just with anything else that you want to do in your life, you got to learn it. And so you got to be willing to learn it and say sometimes, oh, I messed up. I did it wrong. Let me go back and do it again. Yeah.
Got you. I think like the best thing I wouldn't know, I wish I would have had that advice when I jumped in, because I jumped in like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe,
you feel like that, but you got to really just be confident in who you are and what you're selling, and that this is the best of you. And not feel bad when not everybody loves it, because not everybody's going to love it. So you got to have enough thick skin to say, well, you know what, if this is not your fit, it's not your fit. We don't all eat the same thing. Right. And not second guessing yourself and trying to please everyone, but putting together something that you feel proud of.
So you're a business owner. Are you a number watcher?
I watch my numbers. I'm constantly looking at my numbers. It's like the apps that you check regularly. I'm checking my sales numbers. I'm checking my podcast numbers. I'm checking my bank account numbers. It just becomes a part of your everyday life, and I do, but I also have to remind myself that, where I started and where I'm going, and that it doesn't happen overnight. and be honest with myself about that too. Because sometimes you're like, well, this person got so and so, and you got to realize, okay, well, this is what they have, and this is what I have, and again, we're not all in the same boat, going to the same place. So we didn't start at the same place in the race, and just being honest with yourself about that. But yeah, I watch the numbers. I watch them a lot.
Definitely. Are you a analyze of the numbers?
No, I analyze the number. Like I strategize.
Okay, I see where I'm at.
I analyze the
And I'm
numbers.
gonna
I
keep
look
it
at
moving.
data all the time. So I'm looking at the data and like, what are the shifts? What are the difference? What are the demographics? Who am I because that helps me strategize who I'm marketing to and what direction to take my show, based on like who's listening, what the age range is it more men, is it more women, how that works. So I think people use data to drive what comes next. Like as an educator, we use data to drive instruction. It's the same thing. You're using that same data and you're saying, okay, how can I use this to my benefit, right? What can I learn from these numbers so that I know what direction I'm going in? So it could tell you anything. It could tell you like, oh, wow, I didn't know I had, because when I started, my demographic was about 30 to 44, and now it's actually gone down to 25. So younger people are listening to me. I didn't know that, So it's a good way to kind of see where you are and then gauge where you need to go, or who's listening and what they want to hear.
Wow. And see, that's the thing.
Right.
I'm not a numbers analyzer, but I watch trends. So I watch trends. So I look at numbers like, okay, I'm trending this way. All right, well, this is trending right now.
Right.
I'm doing this well. This is not so well. So yeah, I do watch that. Tell the people how to find you though, because you are like on IG. You have your website. So tell the people how they can find you, follow you, support you. Which is also something amazing that you have going on.
All
from
things
your
Karyn
webpage
Elle
and
and Sayith Loud are on the website. So you can go to www.sayith, SAYITH. People always say say it. It's not say it. It's say it. SAYITHLOUD.com. So the website pretty much has everything that's going on. You can listen to the podcast there. You can see my trailer for the film that I'm writing. You can actually go to my blog and like see all my links and all that kind of stuff. Our services page, so everything is there. What other we can be found on? We're on iHeart, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on like I don't know how many different platforms. So you can listen pretty much anywhere, but you can go to the website. I'm definitely on IG, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, all of that stuff. So I am Karyn Elle for me directly, or Sayith Loud is also on both of those. The Friday Fuckery is only on Karyn Elle because it's too much content to have everywhere. You gotta follow my personal page for that. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like website, social media, you can find out everything you need to know. I am Karyn Elle, Sayith Loud, www.sayithloud.com.
So definitely, listeners, I want you to go follow her content. Go to her website.
Yeah.
Like link, share, subscribe. Support. So here's one thing that I preach to everybody.
Yes.
You can support Black businesses such as podcasts, things like that.
Right.
Nature, even with something as small as a review and a share. If you're not ready to make a purchase yet, if you're not ready to dive into a financial investment, a review and a share may get this information out.
So a lot of people don't know this, and I've been
saying
this for the last couple of weeks because I'm like, damn, like the podcast is doing great. We're growing at a crazy rate. We're charting but like I don't make any money from that. So like I go to work and I work all day and then I go home and I work, but we don't make any money from that. And I don't think people realize that. Yeah. I was fortunate enough that I needed a new computer and I requested donations and people were able to donate. But aside from that, week to week, we don't make any money. And it costs to actually invest in yourself, which I don't mind because I'm investing in myself. But people, it's important when people like buy your merchandise, give a review, make a donation, as small as it may seem, because you do put in the work, and you do make the effort, and you manage your calendar, and you find guests, and you doing all that research behind it and legwork. So it feels good when people are like, okay, let me invest in this, as small as it may be. So I'm 100% like support small business, donate. Like if you're going to waste $5 in the dollar store, you can, give it to someone who's going to do something with it and show them that like you're invested in their business, because it means a lot. It means a lot.
Exactly. And that's my thing. My thing is that,
Yeah.
When you look at the amount of money that we waste just on dumb stuff, on dumb stuff, that you can actually support a brand that's out here actually doing something. And here's what I would tell all my listeners, and I know people have heard me say it before. Michael Jordan is a multi-millionaire who doesn't even do commercials anymore. He gets all his sales off of word of mouth. So, yeah, if you can support Michael Jordan, a multi-millionaire, then you can support somebody who's well on their way to trying to become a multi-millionaire.
There needs to be more circulation
you can do the
and
same
communication
thing
of that in our communities. And just saying, like, let me support somebody and what they're doing. Like the other day, I was like, don't ask your friend for a sweatshirt, buy a sweatshirt. Don't ask your friend for a t-shirt, buy a t-shirt. Because that's how you're showing that you support what they're doing and you want to be a part of it.
Exactly. So definitely my challenge this week to my listeners, when you listen to this, like, go to their website, donate,
buy something. And I tried to price things in a range also. Like I was very particular in how I price my merchandise, because I was like, I know who I am and I know what I'm able to spend and what I can't spend and how I want to spend my money. And so I thought about that when I created my merchandise, when I put it up there and when I priced it, because I want people to be able to have it. So I didn't outprice people and be like, oh, well, they're not going to buy it because it's too expensive. I made it so that there are people like me, they're everyday people. Like, I don't mind spending $20. I will blow that up buying a drink at the bar or whatever the case may be. So I think about that when I create a space for my listeners and my followers, because I want them to be a part of it more than I want to make anything from it.
Definitely. So go buy something. Go listen to her podcast, review, share. Your IG stories are so important. Your IG stories lead more people to definitely brands
I'm on
than
IG.
your actual
It's
posts
a lot of fun. Every Friday we do the Fuckery. And I really just wanted Sayith Loud and the Friday Fuckery just to be a feel-good space, right? And so while I do talk about things that are happening on right now in society, I really want this to be a space. When I think about my podcast, I think about people going to work all day, and then they get in their car to go home and they just want to unwind. And they're like, you know what? I don't want to hear the news. I don't want no one talking to me about money. Like, I'm already stressed out. I don't want to hear anyone. I want to sit and I want to just have a laugh and feel good and walk away with something. And that's what I think about every single time I record my show, because that's what I want people to feel. Like in this space of the world and everything that's going on, that there's that 45 minutes you in the car or you're at home cooking or whatever you're doing that makes you feel good. And you're like, let me listen to this and just be in that space for a few minutes and tune all that other nonsense out. Because when I'm done, I'm going to have to go back to it.
And I definitely think you do it. Not only do I think you do it, but I think you do it well. So I wanted to tell you, personally, I'm impressed by your brand. Your brand, like, when I started this whole soul story thing, you were like the first person that I actually reached out to. Like, I gotta talk to her just because your brand just stands out. It jumps out on my IG every day, and I'm like, I look forward to your Fridays. So I'm like, all right, what is gonna be the silliness that I'm gonna see today?
It's so funny because when I don't do it or I'm not early enough, somebody will hit me up and be like, Karyn, you okay? We ain't heard from you today. I'm like, I'm at work. You know what I mean? Can you give me a minute? I'm at work. But I curate all week. And then on Friday, I just let it go. I want people to have a space where they feel good and they feel empowered and they feel they have a voice and somebody understands them. And, it's just, sit back, relax time and kind of just feel it, and that's what I really want to bring, because I feel like life needs more of that. Like, we stressed out all the time. Life needs just a place where we could just unwind, relax, and just be. And that's what I try to create for my followers, for my listeners, for my fans, for everybody I meet, actually.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate your brand. Definitely, guys, check her out. And hey, join the movement. Like, when I see brands like yours and their movement, so join the movement. Make yourself as available as you can be to listen to her podcast, to check out all their other work, films, the platform that she's presenting, and let's work together to make an impact in the rest of 2020. So I'm going to let you go. I know you you got a busy evening plan, but thank you for joining the podcast.
Of course, and, anytime you let me know.
Can't wait to talk to you again.
Bye-bye. Wasn't that shit fucking cool? Isn't it crazy? Like, because like everybody sees me as Karyn with the fuckery, which I love, and I love doing that shit for you. But it's nice to be able to see me in a different light and talk about meditation and talk about like building a brand and talk about believing in yourself, and like everything that I say is true. That story is 110% true. Like, I was in my car one day, I was like, fuck it, this can't be it. My kid actually designed my logo, and I'm so proud of him, and I rock that shit with so much pride because I love it, but also because like my kid made it. And so now it's time for me to, you know, drop in gems with Kay, and so I'm gonna drop some gems on you. But today the gem really is gonna be just what you just heard. Like, you know, if you don't like the situation you are in your life, I feel it for you, I understand. But it's up to you to change it. Like, nothing changes if you don't change. Nothing grows that you don't water. And if you don't tend to your garden, that shit gonna be fucked up. And so I don't know how to say it in a nice way because I just don't do that. But I will say that you need to be empowered, that you need to be strengthened, that this is your community, that I am your people, I'm your friend in your head, and that I'm here to tell you that if you're sitting on your talent, if you're sitting on your happiness, if you're waiting for something to come along to change it, that's not going to happen. You have to get up and you have to make those changes, as hard as they may be, as painful as it may be, as sacrificial as it may be, for the greater good of you, because we only get one go round this motherfucker. We get one go round this motherfucker. And I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but you have every right to be happy. You have every right to feel safe. You have every right to look forward to waking up the next day, no matter how tough it is or what happens. So my gem that I'm dropping for you, I love this segment now. I do. My gem that I'm dropping for you this week is really like, tend to your garden. Take care of yourself. Don't sit on your talent. Don't sit on your ambition. Don't wait around. And not everybody has it. Don't get mad at someone that doesn't. Some people just don't, and that's okay. They, you know, the lady once told me that there's workhorses and there's racehorses. Some people are going to be workhorses in your life, and that's okay. And some people are going to be racehorses in your life, and that's okay. But y'all know Kay, like, I'm a show motherfucking pony. I'm a show out, and I'm going to wear them fucking flowers, and I'm going to win the motherfucking race. That's just me. If that's not you, that's okay. Ain't nobody mad at you for that. That's all right. We all different people and wear different shoes. The idea here in this dropping gems right now is that for you to feel yourself enough and where you are and where your place is, and then get grounded in it and say, okay, this is what I'm going to create for myself. This is what I'm going to create for my life. This is what I'm going to manifest for my life. This is what I'm going to work through. And it doesn't matter what the situation is right now. You got to figure that out, and you got to work your way through it so you get where you want to be, because you're entitled to be there. You're entitled to be happy. And like I said, we got one go around this motherfucker. That's it. We get to do this life thing one time. And so we need to do it the best we can to be as happy as we can with what we got. So that's my gem I'm dropping on you this week. I would love to hear some of the stories of how I empower you and how I help you and how you manifest and how you feel spiritual, or how you make the decisions in your life so that you can move forward to be a better you, or be in a better position or a better place, right? Because if you don't change it, nobody else gonna change it for you. If you don't believe in you, nobody else gonna believe in you. And if you're around motherfuckers that don't believe in you and are not pushing you to be a better person, then change the motherfuckers that you around, so that you can be the best you and be in the best situation. The only thing that impedes that is you making those decisions. There you have it. All right. So again, I love you. Thank you for another week of listening to Sayith Loud. I will be back next week with the fuckery. Yes, I will. In the interim, if you are looking for advertisement space or sponsorship, get at me. We have advertisement space, pre-roll, mid-roll, post-roll available. Go Google it if you know what the fuck it is. We also have sponsorship available right now. Season 2, we on and popping. So you better get it while the price is good, because this shit about to go up. You know what I'm saying? So definitely hit me up for that. If you're looking for Karyn Elle, go to www.sayith, SAYITHLOUD, Sayith Loud, for all things Karyn Elle and Sayith Loud. And follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook. You name it, I got y'all motherfuckers covered. It's too much. I am Karyn Elle. Make sure you follow me Fridays for the fuckery, and Sayith Loud, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good shit. We out here. Alright? I love y'all, and I'll see y'all next week. One. How did I bring my dreams alive? Why, with a Anchor podcast, of course. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor does the hard work and distributes your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can even make money with your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to Anchor FM to get started.